Hey, I'm Western Jaguar, and today we're going to break down a mix, and we're going to look at how I made a song called Little Self-Indulgent, which is available everywhere right now. So grab a drink, coffee, tea, whatever your preferred beverage is, maybe a snack, and sit back and relax, and let's talk through this song. Session open right here. We're going to start with the guitars because that's kind of where this started. So you'll see there's a left and a right guitar here. If we look at those guitars, let's just listen to the left guitar first. That one's like the lower range guitar, and this is the more higher range guitar. And this is kind of where the song idea started. I actually recorded these guitar parts probably about 4 or 5 years ago in the original demo. Everything else is new. Really, they're just little like arpeggiated kind of things, but together they complement each other super well. If we look at it dry on this side, if I get rid of all the plugins here, it's just a little dead sounding. So I really just wanted to kind of make it sound more alive. And again, I recorded this a long time ago. I didn't really know what I was doing as much as I do now. So just use on the lower one here, some EQ just to get rid of all that mud down on the bottom. The fetish, okay, analog obsession. If you are making music and you're not using analog obsession plugins, or at least trying them out, you're missing out. These are great plugins, all for free download. You'll see I use analog obsession all throughout this mix here. So this is their fetish, which I believe is based off an 1176 compressor. But again, just flattening things out. I also have another analog obsession here. This is the black vibe. So that's adding that kind of vibrato sound. So again, if I turn that off and we listen to it by itself, and then we turn it on. Again, pulling out that treble, and then of course we got some Valhalla Space Modulator, another free plugin that if you don't have, you need to download. I again use this everywhere. This is just like a doubling effect to make it sound a little bigger. The processing on the other side is pretty similar. Some EQ, the LA1 or LA2, sorry, tube compressor just for dynamics. And then on this one, I just used a little Fresh Air, which is another free plugin from Slate just to add some presence. This says Presence Pop. I did not use that specific setting. I kind of tweaked it after that. So together, like I said, you get this sound, which is kind of the core idea that the song is built around. And it's literally the same guitar part. You can see I copy and pasted it all the way through the whole song. I literally just played it one time through, copied and pasted it because it was good. And like, I didn't feel the need to continue recording it over and over and over again. Then we have the lead part here. I'm going to unfreeze it for a second. Just because my computer's so slow, I have to freeze things. This is the the Self-Indulgent guitar lead. Let's dive into one section of it just to hear what that sounds like. Super nasty guitar sound. And again, I went to re-record this just like the other ones, and I just cannot get the same vibe. So I was really happy with the vibe of the original demo with these. And again, without the plugins, it's nothing too special. But there's so much junk in the low end. So like even just adding this EQ here, just to accentuate the parts I want to accentuate, got it sitting so much better in the mix. And then again, you know, we got to hit it with fetish just to keep it flat. This tree cue, I also use quite a bit. This is another analog obsession plugin. Analog obsession. Come on. I love you guys. This is amazing. This is just, again, just trying to get rid of some gunky frequencies. Valhalla Space Modulator just to get a doubling sound. Ozone Imager just to widen it a little bit of Fresh Air. Again, just to make it a little more shiny on the top, as the name would imply. Here's all the guitars together. Guitar left and right. So those first guitars, I recorded that on my Fender offset Telecaster in the middle position. And then this Self-Indulgent guitar lead is on my Fender Jaguar, which is a made in Mexico Jaguar. That sounds really cool. By the way, if you're a fan of breakdowns like this, independent music, why not drop a subscribe on this channel? I got lots of videos planned coming out soon, all surrounding making music. So if that sounds interesting to you, drop a subscribe down. I would love to have you along for the ride. Likes and comments also really help this video spread around. So let's look at the bass guitar here. We are looking at two parts, which may seem kind of strange, but let me explain myself. This first part is the intro bass lead, and this was actually the first bass I recorded for this song. I'm gonna unmute this for a second. And this was on a guitar, and I used a micropog to just pitch it down. And it actually sounded super cool. And then when I added like some EQ and a bass amp to it, kind of had this really beefy, drivey thing. And I was considering keeping it. I just felt it didn't really sit in the mix right. So I went back and I re-recorded instead of fighting it. And this is recorded on my Fender Precision bass. Without plugins, I just recorded direct into my audio interface. This was the stock sound. But then when we get to adding the plugins, that's where it really comes alive. So the first one is this Ampeg sim. This is from Plugin Alliance. I got this free with my Volt 2 audio interface when I bought it. And this has been now my go-to bass amp plugin. I use it on pretty much everything. If you heard bass on a song from me in the past year, it's been through this Ampeg plugin because it's so versatile and there's so many different settings on it that I really love. When you hear it now with this bass amp on, like immediately it sounds better than that direct in. We have the Fetish plugin yet again, just flattening things out. I love this plugin. This Tree Q, again, just cutting out some of the gunk here. This was around like the 440 range. And then beefing up some of those lows and around 1,000 just to help it kind of cut. Some general EQ. And then I added a little bit of this little radiator. This is a Sound Toys plugin. Again, was a free plugin at one time. And just adding some grit and some distortion just to kind of help things pop out a little more. So altogether, I mean, you get something that kind of sounds like this, which I'm really happy with. And it kind of follows that rhythm throughout the whole thing, except for the end here. Next section of the song is the synth section. The first thing is this rhythmic transition, which I was really excited about. This is from Universal Audio called the Polymax Synth. Again, I got it for free with my Volt 2 when I bought it. And this setting is called the Clap Around. So before I kind of mess with it, here's what it sounds just normal. Again, it's fine, but I added some saturation just to kind of bring out the distortion. This is from Softtube, another free plugin, saturation knob. Then we have Valhalla Freak Echo, another free plugin. The step effects, this is stock Logic. This I always use the auto pan feature. And again, I'm just auto panning it really quickly from left to right to give it that really fast kind of movement. I really love how that sound came out. It's probably one of my favorite little sound design things on the whole song. And I use it in a few different sections. A notable spot would probably be like here. To the night. Just a wash transition type thing, which is cool. I have a Cold Space piano. This is another free plugin. This is just all about the free plugins. We got the Quiet Piano plugin from Quiet Music. This one's called Cold Space, this piano sound. And I only use it at the end of the song in the outro. Just a really interesting and cool piano sound. Here's the secondary lead part. This is actually just stock Logic called Lullaby Vibes. It sounds good. Why mess with it? Then I also just added a bit of a pad in the background, this soft pad. And this one, this is the retro synth, again, stock Logic. Some EQ, just really wanted to minimize it. If you look at this EQ and it scares you, yeah, it scares me too. Then Valhalla Supermassive, another free plugin. Man, where's the free plugin counter? Put the free plugin counter here. My gosh. So this one, again, so many good stock modes. I literally just go through and find a preset I like and then tweak it. So this one, I'm using one called Hold a Chord just to kind of extend things a little bit. So with that EQ and that reverb and also this Tal Course, another free plugin. Count it. This is the best. I will say it again. This is the best course plugin out there, and it's free. Tal Course LX. It is amazing. Again, something else I use in every mix. I always reach for it when I want a course sound. I do have a bus on here. This is going to the Cymatics Origin. Again, another free plugin. Count it. And this plugin just adds so much interest. So you can kind of degrade the auto quality. It has course as well, saturation, and also movement. And you can put them both pre-post, and you can also enable a high-pass filter on here. It's insane. It's insane that this is free. I use it mainly on these synths just to give them that more analog quality and get rid of some of that digitalness that you can kind of get from using like synths that are in the box. The last synth is this synth sauce. It's called Synth Sauce. This is again from this Polymax synths from UAD. This is the goes anywhere setting because apparently it goes anywhere. And I wanted to test it out and see if that was true. So bear with me, follow along. Here's what we did. EQ, Fetish, Frank, CS, another Analog Obsession, free plugin, Valhalla, Supermassive, Tremolo, another EQ because I'm crazy, Distortion, and Spreader. Put it all together. What do you get? Super, super gridded, messed up synth sound. Why is it like that? I wanted to add like a distorted layer at the end in the final section. And I always use guitar for things like that. And I was like, what can I try that's different? So I took the synth and I made it more distorted. And it kind of sits in that last section, kind of in an interesting way. I kind of liked how it sat. So it's kind of a way to add grit without going that traditional method of just grabbing a distorted guitar and plucking along. So I thought that was cool. So that's the synth section of Little Self-Indulgent. This is going to make some people angry. Let's look at my drums here. This is Logic stock drums, but as you can see, I played the actual parts myself. So I'd used my, I have it right here, my Akai MPK Mini, and I use the pads to play the drum parts. If you don't know in Logic, normally when you open a drum kit or pick the drummer mode, it sends you one of these, which are just the different drum sounds. But if you go down to the bottom and go to producer kits, you have a whole range of kits that you can actually edit. I went through and I, again, selected drums, tuned them, and essentially found the sounds I wanted. It's a really cool feature to have to be able to adapt your drums to the sonic nature of the song. For routing, I apologize. For routing, I made a mistake. I wanted to get some more grit on the drums. So this is like my main drum bus. And I have this UAD Oxide tape recorder, which adds a really nice grit. Again, I got this for free with my Volt 2. Not technically a free plugin though. Sorry to the counter. But I noticed it was really messing with the kicks because again, I didn't put this on a bus. I should have put this on a bus and ran it parallel and not affect the kicks, but I put it on the actual drum bus, which was a mistake. And I've learned that. In terms of my drum bus, again, I've learned to not do that. This is kind of a main go-to for me, is again, another free plugin. This is the Analog Obsession Buster SE. So this is a solid state bus compressor. I love this compressor. It just glues things together so nicely. So that's the general drum bus. If we just listen to the drums by themselves here. Now you'll probably notice there was no action in the kicks here because I ran the kicks to just the instrument bus channel because I wanted to avoid the tape. Disclaimer, don't do as I do. But it may be interesting to see that even in a finished song, I still did things incorrectly. And through this, I learned how to mitigate that issue in the future. I learned from it and we move forward. We continue on. I didn't really do too much to the drums. I find these Logic drummer sounds really good. I don't really touch the drums too much. I think drum mixing is something I definitely could really improve on. It's definitely one of my weaker spots in terms of my overall mix knowledge. Last up here, we have the vocals. Now, vocals usually for me are very complicated. This song, though, not so much. Normally, I'm a harmony guy. I like to add lots of different layers and things like that. I wanted to try something different on this song and really keep it very stripped down. I have my recorded tracks down here, and then I bounce them just so I could do some final editing here. This is my main vocal here. We'll just listen to it with absolutely nothing first. Prepare yourselves. Gotta fight it. You don't have me feeling right. You don't have me feeling right. So that's just dry. As you can see, I did a few takes and I just cut the parts that I liked the best in there. My typical vocal process here. First thing I'll usually hit it with is Melodyne. I just kind of subtly move things just to help with the next step, which is the pitch correction. Then when you add in a little bit of pitch correction, this is just a stock Logic pitch correction, which I actually find sounds pretty good. Again, if you listen to my last album, Vacation Land, everything that is pitch correction is done with this plugin. So stock plugins for the win, right? And this is really slow pitch correction, so it's not doing too much. Gotta fight it. Just helping out a little bit. Then we hit it with some EQ. Again, I'm getting rid of a lot of gunk. I record in this room. It's not very treated, so there's lots of gunk in the low end. I'm going to use Silk Vocal. This is a newer one to my vocal chain. So Silk Vocal was free at one point from Waves. I don't think it's free anymore. And this essentially has a whole bunch of different settings that you can try. I mainly just use Raw to Pro to find a bass sound and then edit from there. For this song, I just used the de-esser model. Did I not? Why? Okay. Apparently, I only de-ess the left side. These are things you learn after the fact. Then Fetish makes an appearance again. The LA2A just adds so much crispiness. I always put the LA2A, especially on lead vocal, just to give it kind of just pushes things to the front, which I love. And then again, my Valhalla space modulator, this is giving it kind of that double-y sound instead of recording a double. Gotta fight it. Kind of reminds me of like Bon Iver type things in a weird way. Then down here, my sends, this is just a compressor adding some vocal enhancement. This is from Softtube as well. I believe this one's free as well. I'm not positive. The Drummer S73 Intelligent Master Processor. So this is just kind of bringing out the vocals a little bit more, just subtly brought in. Channel 15 here was the delay, which comes in and out. And then the reverb on here, this is the LX480 Essential from Relab. I got this for free as well with my Volt 2. I'm just using the vocal plate mellow setting for that one. You'll notice I automate throughout, but the sends are automated all throughout. So we have different amounts of delay, different amounts of reverb, and things like that all throughout the song. And the wet dry also of the double. And doing things like this really makes your mix more interesting. things are changing throughout the song. It's not just a static vocal. The more I've learned to use like automation, the more I found my mixes are more interesting and I'm more captivated by what's happening in them. Second one here is the shouts or the yell parts. If we take everything off. You don't let me feel it right. You don't let me feel it right. Here, channel EQ, fetish, pitch correction, the Century tube channel strip. This is where the grit is coming from. You don't let me feel it right. And we listen to it with. You don't let me feel it right. Oh, maybe we'll go here where it's actually kind of more in the middle. Keep that pedal through the floor. Sick. Console EQ, another free plugin in Logic. This is just getting rid of some of that gunk in the lows and boosting the highs. Galaxy Tape. I love this plugin. This is another UAD plugin I got for free with my Volt 2. This is what's really adding interest to this vocal. I automated this, the feedback, right in those transitional spots, just bumped it up like crazy. It adds like this cool feedback and distortion effect. So if we listen right here. Super cool. Again, I probably could have put this on a send, but I didn't. Added a little bit of reverb, a UAD pure plate reverb, and then a de-esser at the end. Again, Analog Obsession, free plugin, loads de-esser. The last layer is just a little bit of falsetto. This is ones I also melodined just to get the pitch a little better. But it's a pretty similar chain to the shouty vocal, just without the tape echo and that reverb that I used on the shouty vocal, and the reverb from the main vocal is what I use there. I don't think there's any... Oh, there's one section here where they're all kind of playing around together. You don't let me feel it right. You don't let me feel it right. So that's the vocal. All that's really left here is just the finishing touches. So all the instruments here, all these, are all going to this instrument bus, which I'm just side chain compressing to the vocal, just so that things dip a little bit. You can't really tell, but just to have that vocal sit a little bit better. Vocals themselves, the main bus, I just have another de-esser on there just to, again, try to clean things up as best I can. Fetish, again, just to catch any strays that have gotten through. I have a couple TDR Novas on here. One's de-essing. This one, I believe I'm just accentuating a few frequencies I liked. Stereo out. So this is the last section. All this stuff is going to the stereo out. A little bit of EQ, just cleaning up a few spots that I felt were a little gunky, particularly this like 400 to 500 range. I do have automation on the stereo out as well, and that's for this tremolo here. And this is just at the very end of the song, right here. And I thought was a cool way to kind of fade out the song in a non-traditional way. Then this stuff is all mastering things. So I got the drummer, which we saw earlier. This is just adding some gentle compression. Fresh air, adding a little bit more presence in the highs and the mids there. The Ozone EQ. This was free. I don't know if it's still free. I got it for free. What I use this for in mastering is the mid side. So you can EQ differently what's down the middle and what's on the sides of your mix. So on the sides, I cut out pretty much all the low end. It's subtle, but to me, I hear the difference. Ozone Imager, just adding a little bit of width. The Buster SE compressor, using that once again. Again, just a great glue compressor. Then my limiter. Free plugin again. This is Kornoff L1 limiter. Obviously, it's based off the L1. And this is my favorite limiter I've ever used in my entire life. I usually just dial it in by ear where it sits and how I want it to sound. And it just sounds so good. And maybe it's because it's making it louder. Yeah, maybe it's because of that. But honestly, I feel like it just sounds great. So again, I think what I love about it is it seems to just retain the natural sound so well. And that's something you want with your limiter. You don't want it to color things too much. And I would highly recommend you check this out. Last thing is just my loudness meter. This is definitely free because it says free right up there. The U-Lean loudness meter, just to check where things are hitting. That's a rundown of Little Self-Indulgent, my newest track. So thank you for checking out this video. Thank you so much for watching. Western Jaguar out.